Cosatu, Congress of South African Trade Unions Parliamentary Coordinator Matthew Parks joins me now for more reaction. Matthew Parks, did you think this day would come? If you did you think it would happen in your lifetime?
Well, I don't know about my lifetime, but look, I think many of us had given up hope, sadly, that this day would come. So I think it is a welcome, development. I think we can all remember about 5 years ago how frustrated we were when the Guptas were allowed to escape this country, when it was very clear that they were planning to escape and the NPA and other law enforcement agencies just sat on their hands. So I think, having said that, let's hope this is not a false mirage. Let's hope this is not just a simple flash in the pan. Because we have seen many times where people have been charged, maybe made one court appearance, and then nothing happens to it for years and years. So let's hope. So let's appreciate this as a welcome step, but let's really see: will they be extradited back to South Africa? Will they come and face trial in South Africa? Will they be prosecuted? Will they be convicted? Will the ISIS be attached? Then that's a real what we really want to see at the end of the day. But it's a welcome step forward. But let's really hope we'll see the next logical conclusions taking place.
And from your vantage point, Matthew, what is the case that the Guptas have to answer? I know that it's the prosecution, the NPA, that will be putting charges to them, but they do so on behalf of the people. In fact, in other jurisdictions, they will say the people versus. So from the vantage point of the people you represent as Cosatu, what is the case that the Guptas have to answer?
Well, there's many charges. I think we've seen in the Zondo Commission many serious allegations of a real industrial scale corruption, the state capture being laid on their doorstep. I think really they were at the heart, allegedly, according to the Zondo Commission, of state capture and corruption. There's serious allegations of what happened at Eskom, where billions of rands were stolen, and what happened at Transit, again, billions of rands. I think we've seen other state entities where the allegations were made against them as well, including the Government Communications Service. So really there's been countless serious allegations. We would hope if they claim to be innocent that they would actually want to come to court and prove their innocence. We think they've got a real case to answer. And our members have felt the pain of the consequence of corruption state capture. We've seen workers in 2020 in public service not getting increased. We've seen workers at SAA being retrenched, SA Express. And this is all because of state capture and corruption.
Yeah, actually, Matthew, I want you to talk a bit more about that because you have a unique perspective. And as I think about the various sectors in which the tentacles of the Guptas stretched, a lot of them are areas where you mobilize, be it at Denel, which ran into problems and was unable to pay salaries for a number of months, be it what we saw happening at what we're seeing at Eskom with the situation that we are facing now. Not saying that all of it is on the Guptas, not at all, not by a long shot, but a lot of it had to do with the corruption that was taking place at those institutions. You can go to Transnet, etc., etc. So just paint for me in vivid color why your members will be watching this particularly closely as interested parties. Matthew, I don't know if you still can hear me. All right.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you seemed to have muted yourself a little bit. I don't know if you caught my full question to you. Matthew, it seems something is happening with our connection. Let me try one last time. Can you hear me now? No. It seems the technology has caved in and given up on us while we were still in conversation with Matthew Parks of Cosatu. Let me try and speak to him again. Let's see, I'm told that. Matthew, I believe you can hear me now. I don't know if you heard my last question. I wanted you to talk a bit more about how keenly and how closely your members as Cosatu will be watching these processes from the extradition process to an eventual trial if and when we get to that particular point, particularly with an interest about the impact that some of the activities of the Guptas had on their livelihoods.
Yes. No, look, our members will be keenly watching it. We have seen at Denel, as you said, that for 18 months workers didn't receive salaries. We've had reports of workers at Denel committing suicide, losing their cars, their property, their houses, the kids having to be taken out of the schools. We've seen the impact in Transnet, which is critical to mining and manufacturing, to agricultural jobs, which has been brought to the point of ruin because of corruption. We've seen trains that are the wrong size being bought. We've seen Eskom limping because of corruption at industrial scale, and that's wreaked havoc across the entire economy. Many thousands of jobs have been lost because of load shedding. Many companies, be it restaurants, be it in the mining sector, be it manufacturing, can't fully operate, have had to retrench because of what happened at Eskom. Because of stealing from Eskom or other SOEs, the state has had to bail them out. This has meant less money for public servants, for nurses and teachers to get an increase in 2020 or last year and even this year. It's meant that money that could have been spent on basic services at local government wasn't available because we've bled so much to corruption because of the cases later, the Guptas. It really has had a huge impact. I don't think there's anybody in South Africa who has not borne the brunt of the state capture and the corruption at industrial scale that the Guptas were alleged to have been leading. It's unbelievable. And to be honest with you, psychologically, it's brought huge shame to South Africa across the world because we're now known no longer as a rainbow nation of Nelson Mandela in 1994, a beacon of hope to the world, but we're now known for corruption, for hooliganism, for people who have just unashamedly sold the nation for the highest bidder to a bunch of criminals, to be honest.
Yeah. Matthew Parks, let me ask you, though, a political question. You are in an alliance with the ANC and the SACP and SANCO. I'm wondering, are you, as Cosatu, the Cosatu component of that alliance, raising the sharp questions that were raised by Justice Raymond Zondo about a month and a half ago? Because it seems to me, at the point at which the Zondo Commission report laid into the ANC and said the ANC should be ashamed that this transpired under their watch, the people of South Africa thought that the ANC government was, in charge of some of the SOEs, Eskom in particular, but actually they had surrendered these to the Guptas. I'm just wondering whether you've picked up on that momentum as the alliance partners. My suggestion to you is that you haven't.
Sure. Look, we've been raising these issues for quite some time, even before the Zondo Commission was established. I think we welcome the Zondo Commission's reports. We agree with them. We agree with the recommendation. We want to see government acting on it. But as Cosatu, we get our mandate from workers in the public sector, the private sector, across the economy. And they've been angry for quite some time, even before President Ramaphosa took office. We've been raising the issues in the alliance, at the ANC and NEC meetings, at Parliament, at NEDLAC, in public, wherever we can. We've been raising it. And we think government needs to do much more. This literally is a fight for not only the soul of the ANC, but the soul of the country. Corruption is a cancer eating at the heart of the state. It impacts upon workers and the families. It impacts upon the whole nation. We have to deal with it. There are good people in the ANC. That's why we're in alliance with them. But we need to assist them, led by the president, to clean up the corruption, because there are many people in the ANC who are still deeply embedded in corruption, who are resisting efforts to clean it up. But I think also, to be fair to the ANC, corruption is endemic across South African society. It's in the political parties, not just the ANC, many political parties. It's across government. Yeah. It's across the private sector. It's across churches and organizations everywhere. Even parts of the media were affected by corruption and state capture. So I think it's about all of us, irrespective of political views, working together to uproot corruption, to rebuild law and order, to rebuild the state, and to rebuild the moral fabric of society. It's not just about whether there's one ANC or not ANC. I think this is about the national interest where we all have to contribute.
All right, I've got to thank you for your time and your inputs here on ENCA. That's Cosatu's Parliamentary Coordinator, Matthew Parks, reacting to the news of the arrest of Atul and Rajesh Gupta.